I can't wait to see how that number grows, in the weeks that go on. But definitely, let's talk about Vita Vea. This one was an interesting one today with Vita saying he wants to be traded. What do you guys think? Because obviously, look, it's so easy to sit here and play this game anytime anybody says they want to trade. Like, whether you're a fan of the team, whether you cover the team, it's always like, okay, does it make sense for them to come to the team that I'm covering or I'm a fan of? Do you
Yeah.
guys think it makes sense for the Raiders to try and make a trade for Vita Vea right now?
Oh.
I'll start. I'm on the fence on this.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a hard one to
I
kind of go about,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It is because you have to look at it on two sides. So let's say on the side of, you want Vita Veda in a Raiders uniform. You got Max Crosby. You bring it. They can need they need defensive line reinforcement. It doesn't hurt to add more to it. And I think that's someone who can come in and immediately help them in the trenches in terms of stopping the run and
Everybody wants
create
a
more
nose
pressure
too.
at the quarterback, and you add him with Crosby, Quiddy Pay, Quay Walker, and Kobe Dean. You look at that defense just on paper, man. That's night and day. The defense, that defensive line looks night and day compared to what we saw last year. But at the same time, and then you have to factor in, John Spytek was a part of, the Buccaneer staff when they drafted him out of Washington.
There's ties
Yeah.
there for
So
sure.
you got the ties there, but now you have to look at this as well. He's up there. He's up there in age 31, I believe, and I believe the Raiders at the moment has 14 million in cap. If you're going to get Vita Vea, you're going to have to give him a new deal. Whether it's you rework his current deal to give him more guarantees, or you lock him up for a long term deal. And do the Raiders want to do that? Are they in the spot to do that at the present moment? Do they feel? And that's where had to question that possibility because you still got some. You got Jonah Laulu, you got Thomas Booker, you got Tonka Hemingway, you got JJ. Tonka and JJ were two guys they drafted last year. So you got some young guys
Could be the
that
same
you
thing like with the
wanted.
receiver core, yeah.
Yes, and that you want to see what you can get out of them. So I don't know, just given the state of this team, I don't. That's the best path moving forward in terms of putting that money towards him. And you're taking snaps away from some of those young guys who may be develop into solid contributors for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, man, it's honestly just saying it was like absolutely. Like I would love to have him on this team. I'm a little biased too because
I saw
I'm
it. Weren't you
Pauly.
at
So
Disneyland when you I saw
oh
the
yeah, you
video,
see, yeah, I was at
talking
this
to
man. I was like, what
Disneyland
the
saying he
hell? All of a
wants Vita
sudden, we got
Vea.
Raider news when I'm at Disneyland, dog. But yeah, no, yeah, bro, I would love to have Vita Vea on this team, man. Like, and I know that it wouldn't cost. Well, a lot of people are saying that it wouldn't even cost much because the Bucks really have no leverage, and I think it would be perfect because he grew up a Raider fan. So I think it'd be perfect for him to come over here. Which is why they kind of threw it out there, like he's down to go back to Cali or the Raiders. But just looking at the Raiders right now. Yeah, we're kind of like in a rebuilding stage, but for Vita, I don't think he's trying to go to a contender. He just wants to get paid, and I think the Raiders can do it. They could move some money around. I don't really know the numbers like that, but bringing him on would definitely help the defensive line a lot more than it is right now, and it gives Max another guy to kind of get after the quarterback. So like overall, like I think it would be perfect to have him on his team, especially as a fan. Like I and knowing that the Raiders just released my big Uso Lockheed, man,
Yeah.
we could use another big body in there. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I know a
I
lot.
like for me, simple answer is like yes, I would love Vita
Yeah,
Vea.
I know a lot of the fans loved Laki Tassi. That was a move. I didn't think they would release him before camp started, but I was like not super surprised by that.
Yeah.
Just because it's just kind of if it hadn't clicked yet,
Yeah.
it might not. But this one is really interesting with Vita Vea because I like Ryan too. Am like on the fence on this one. Like initially, I was like sitting there. I'm like, well, it could make sense. But then you're like, okay, he's 31 years old. He's making $17 million a year base right now with $1 million roster bonus. So 18 mil a year, and he's still not happy with that money. So then you're going to throw even more money at him to a dude who is north of 31 years old. And on a team where, to Ryan's point, like they invested a lot of capital and everything in him. And then again, what would it take for the trade? Like, is it a second? Is it a third? I really don't know what that would actually look like. We'd have to kind of wait and see, what that market develops into. But and I hate keeping doing this too, like with the receiving core of like, no, let the guys show you who they are and like keep kicking that can down the road. But I think even too, you can go and look like you can find a good D tackle. And I think next year's draft class, like I did a little bit of digging and stuff, like the D tackle class may not be like have like the clear cut like superstar, but those dudes on the interior, it seems like it's a really deep draft class. Like the Raiders very clearly didn't like the D tackle class, or at least the interior defensive lineman class this year, because they passed on some of those guys. They had an opportunity to take Caden McDonald. They traded out of that spot with the Texans, and the Texans took him. Like they very clearly didn't want him there. And they had opportunities to take other guys too. So I think maybe they look at next year's class and they're like, we can find a guy there. Again, now this is a dude that's coming in his early 20s. You have him on a rookie deal. You're not using draft capital that you need to inject a lot of talent into this roster too. Like one thing in this whole conversation that's really hard for me to get over anytime you talk about trading for like vets and things like that is that like they've screwed up a lot of drafts over the years, you know, with all the different staffs coming through. And so, like, they just need to inject a ton of young talent into this group. And that's why I think it was so big that they went and got a lot of 25-year-olds in free agency, is to kind of almost, like, correct those draft woes over the years to just, like, okay, hey, look, these are guys that are now on their second contract that had they been homegrown, we possibly could have been able to do that as the Raiders. So, like, I'm, like, so hesitant to give up draft capital because of that, too, because I'm like, you got to find a way to draft dudes and build them up within your organization rather than trading that stuff away.
Yeah, and you got go on.
And just to add off of that, is just you got to look at the reality of the situation. If you told me going into this season, the Raiders are going to compete for a wild card spot, they have a chance to compete for the division, then yeah, I'll make that call.
You make that
but
move,
they're not in that situation. When you look at the roster, there's a lot of question. As much optimism there is for this coaching staff and the pieces they have brought in and the future, there's still a lot of pieces, a lot of question marks around the whole on both sides of the ball that makes you wonder. That's what makes me like say, like, I don't think this team, they could prove us wrong. They could very well prove us wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, you look at the paper, there's a lot of question marks in certain position groups where you're like, this is not a team that can, you know, compete for a postseason spot. So why give away your draft capital for a veteran who wants a long-term deal? You already got young guys at that defensive line spot, and then you're going to have a draft where if you do need to add more interior help, you can use the 2027 draft to do that. And John Spytek is a guy who loves his draft picks. He's a guy who loves drafting and developing guys that they obtain through those picks, trading back and getting additional picks. So if it does, you know, require like a second round pick or a second round pick and
probably a high second round pick too.
A high second round pick and a day 3 pick. I don't know if that's worth it, just given the state of this team at the present moment.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying like maybe a third and fifth, which I guess I don't know too much, but like I was like, oh yeah, just do that. But I see where you guys are coming from because like you guys think with logic. I find that just like I want everybody. Like, just bring me everybody.
Yeah, like like I'm like, if it was just the draft capital and you could pay him $18 million a year, that might make sense.
Yeah,
but he wants a bigger deal too. Dude wants to get paid, like you said.
Hey,
so like,
hey, Raiders, just spend that shit, bro. They were good. No, but hey, no, it's funny. I agree with what you guys are saying too. Like, there's two sides of it. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it would be nice for a lot of Raider fans. And then somebody in the chat, I guess this is the main reason why Jesse doesn't want him to leave. It's from MG's Raider. He says, it weakens Jesse's team.
They know it. He wants to
See, I wouldn't have got this if Jesse didn't tell me before the live stream who his real team is. So like, he's like, we don't want him to leave. It don't make sense for the Raiders or anybody to take Vita, dog. He should stay where he's at.
Nobody should trade him. Yeah, forget him. I heard that he hates playing football for anybody.
He's not even that good. He's old. You know?
Yeah, they asked me that question today on Raider Nation Radio too. They were like, what was your first thought when you saw that Vita Vea wanted to be traded? And I was like, damn, that was my first thought because I'm pissed because my Bucks are going to be weakened, you know? So